Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Chapter 32.
Okay, so let's kick off with the first big shock. Yuan Shang, one of Yuan Shao's sons, he's just had a victory and he rushes out to meet Cao Cao's army. What happens?
Yeah, Yuan Shang, he might have been a bit overconfident, actually. He'd just beaten Shi Huan, maybe thought he was unstoppable. So he leads tens of thousands of troops out from Liang. But then he runs smack into Zhang Liao.
Ooh, Sang Liao. Not someone you want to run into unprepared.
Exactly. And the text says, in less than 3 moves, Yuan Shang is just overwhelmed. He has to turn tail and flee back to Jizu, defeated.
Wow, less than 3 moves. That's quick. And this defeat, it has immediate terrible consequences for his father, Yuan Shao.
Devastating consequences. The news hits Yuan Shao like a physical blow. His old illness, it flares up terribly. He apparently vomits several liters of blood, which is just, horrific imagery, and collapses.
Goodness.
His wife, Lady Lu, she quickly gets Shen Pei and Feng Ji, his key advisors, to his side to sort out the succession right then and there. Yuan Shao, he can't even speak. He just points, indicating Yuan Shang should be his successor.
He points to Yuan Shang.
And then he dies, spitting out more blood. It's a really dramatic and quite gruesome end.
So Yuan Shang is named successor in these pretty traumatic circumstances. But then things get even darker, don't they? What does Lady Lu do next? It's quite chilling.
It really is. This is one of those details that just sticks with you. Lady Lu, Yuan Shao's wife, her jealousy was apparently extreme. She immediately orders the execution of 5 of Yuan Shao's favorite concubines.
Just like that.
Just like that. But it gets worse. She wasn't just content with them being dead. To stop their spirits potentially reuniting with Yuan Shao in the afterlife, she has their hair shaved off, their faces tattooed, or some say stabbed, and their bodies mutilated.
That's unbelievable. Her jealousy extended beyond death itself.
Exactly. It's a truly dark turn. And Yuan Shang, the newly appointed leader, does he step in? Does he stop this?
What does he do?
He actually doubles down on the cruelty. He's worried about potential trouble from the families of these concubines, so he has them rounded up and killed too.
So more killing.
Yes. After all that, Shen Pei and Feng Ji formally install Yuan Shang as the Grand Marshal General. This gives him control over Ji, Qing, Yu, and Bing provinces. Then, only then, do they officially announce Yuan Shao's death. You can already feel the instability, the bad blood right from the start.
Absolutely. Okay, let's switch focus a bit to Yuan Tan, Yuan Shang's brother. He's coming from Qingzhou when he gets the news about his father. How does he react? What do his advisors tell him?
Right. Yuan Tan hears about his father's death and immediately talks to his advisors, Guo Tu and Xin Ping. Guo Tu says, look, you need to get to Jizu fast. Shen Pei and Feng Ji are going to set up Yuan Shang as the sole ruler if you don't. He fears they'll be cut out.
Makes sense.
But Xin Ping offers a different perspective. He's more cautious. He warns Yuan Tan, wait, this could be a trap. Shen Pei and Feng Ji might be trying to lure you in.
So, conflicting advice, what does Yuan Tan decide? He goes with Guo Tu's plan, but with a little twist.
He does. He decides to take Guo Tu's advice about going to Jizu, but he's cautious too. He sets up his camp outside the city, not inside. Then he sends Guo Tu in alone to kind of scout things out.
Smart. What happens when Guo Tu meets Yuan Shang?
Well, Yuan Shang asks, why isn't Yuan Tan here? And Guo Tu comes up with this excuse, claiming Yuan Tan is sick, too ill to come into the city.
A convenient illness.
Very convenient. Yuan Shang then announces, well, father named me successor, and says he's appointing Yuan Tan as general of chariots and cavalry. And he tells Yuan Tan, via Guo Tu, to lead the vanguard against Cao Cao, trying to assert his authority, keep his brother busy and away from the center of power.
Right, keep him occupied on the front lines. So how does Guo Tu handle this? What's his counterplay?
Guo Tu is clever. He says, well, if Yuan Tan is going to lead the vanguard, he'll need advisors. He needs Shen Pei and Feng Ji to help him.
Ah, trying to split Yuan Shang's advisor.
Exactly. Yuan Shang at first is like, no, wait, I need my guys here. But Guo Tu somehow convinces him to let them draw lots.
Draw lots. Serious?
Yep. And Feng Ji draws the short straw, so to speak. He gets sent with Guo Tu back to Yuan Tan's camp, carrying the official seal for Yuan Tan's new post.
So Guo Tu actually managed to pull one of Yuan Shang's key advisors away. What happens when Feng Ji gets to Yuan Tan's camp?
Feng Ji arrives and immediately sees Yuan Tan isn't sick at all. He realizes something's up and gets pretty uneasy. He presents the seal, but Yuan Tan is absolutely furious.
Yep.
He wants to execute Feng Ji right there for backing Yuan Shang.
But Guo Tu steps in.
Yes, Guo Tu pulls Yuan Tan aside, secretly advises him, look, don't kill him now. Keep him around. It'll make Yuan Shang think things are okay for the moment.
Yeah.
The plan, according to Guo Tu, is deal with Cao Cao first, then come back and fight for Jizu.
Wow, so much deception within the family. It really poses that question, doesn't it? How far do you go deceiving your own brother for power?
It's a central theme here, definitely.
Okay, so this internal drama is boiling, but Cao Cao is still out there, a very real threat. How does Yuan Tan actually fare when he goes up against him at Liang?
Well, Yuan Tan moves his troops to Liang to fight Cao Cao, as instructed, sort of. He sends out his general, Wang Zhao. But Cao Cao has Xu Huang ready. Xu Huang apparently cuts down Wang Zhao in just a few clashes. Yuan Tan's army just breaks and flees back into Liang City. Not a good start.
Not good at all. His army shattered. He must be desperate. He asks Yuan Shang for help, right? Does he get it?
He asks, yes. Yuan Shang and Shen Pei talk it over. But incredibly, they only decide to send 5,000 troops as reinforcements. A tiny number, really.
5,000. That's hardly anything against Cao Cao's main force.
Exactly. And what's worse, Cao Cao finds out about these reinforcements. He sends Li Jin and Li Dian to intercept them. They ambush the relief force, surround them, and completely wipe them out. Annihilated.
So the tiny reinforcement force doesn't even make it. Yuan Tan must have been, well, livid.
Oh, absolutely enraged. He blames Yuan Shang for this pathetic, useless attempt at help. He turns on Feng Ji, who's still with him. Feng Ji, trying to save his own skin probably, offers to write again to Yuan Shang, begging him to come in person with the real army.
Does Yuan Tan buy it?
He agrees to let him write. But back in Jizu, Yuan Shang and Shen Pei have another discussion. And Shen Pei again advises Yuan Shang not to go. His argument is basically, if we help Yuan Tan beat Cao Cao, Yuan Tan will just get stronger and then come after us for Jizu.
Wow, the paranoia is overriding everything.
Completely. Yuan Shang agrees with Shen Pei. He refuses to send aid again.
This feels like a critical moment. Yuan Shang's fear of his own brother is now actively helping their main enemy, Cao Cao. What happens when Yuan Tan gets this news?
When Yuan Tan hears that Yuan Shang has refused him again, he snaps. He has Feng Ji executed in a rage.
Finally carries out the threat.
Yes. And at this point, he's so desperate, he seriously considers just surrendering Liang and his forces to Cao Cao.
Joining his enemy to potentially spite his brother, the depth of the division is incredible.
It really is. But news travels fast. Word gets back to Yuan Shang that Yuan Tan is about to surrender.
Does that finally change his mind? The prospect of Yuan Tan joining Cao Cao against him.
It does. The fear of a combined Yuan Tan-Cao Cao attack on his own base, Jizu, finally spurs Yuan Shang into action. He leaves Shen Pei and another advisor, Su Yu, to defend Jizu. Then he personally leads a large army towards Liang to rescue Yuan Tan. He sends Lu Kuang and Lu Sheng ahead with a vanguard of 30,000 troops.
So just when it looked like total collapse and betrayal, the threat of a worse outcome forces them back together, sort of.
Exactly. It's an alliance born of pure desperation, not trust. Yuan Tan hears his brother is actually coming with a real army, so he drops the surrender plan. They set up a pincer formation, Yuan Tan holding the city, Yuan Sheng camping outside. And then their other brother Yuan Shi and an ally, Gao Gan, also show up with their forces. So suddenly you have 3 separate Yuan camps outside Liang, plus Yuan Tan inside. A big force, on paper at least.
Right, so now all the key Yuan players are finally together. Combined strength. This must be the moment they push Cao Cao back, surely.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But despite having all these forces gathered, they still struggle. They fight several battles against Cao Cao's army and, well, they keep losing.
Still losing, even combined.
Yes. And by February the next year, Jan 8, Cao Cao launches a major coordinated assault. Yuan Tan, Yuan Shi, Yuan Sheng, Gao Gan, all of them are defeated soundly. They have to abandon Liang altogether and retreat back towards their main base, Jizu.
A total failure of the alliance. Cao Cao pursues them all the way to Jizu, but then his attacks on the city itself don't work. What's his next play?
This is where it gets really interesting strategically.
Yeah.
Cao Cao besieges Jizu, but the city holds firm initially. And it's here that his advisor, Guo Jia, steps in with just a brilliant piece of analysis. Absolutely brilliant.
Guo Jia again. What does he see?
Guo Jia looks at the situation and says, essentially, look, the Yuan family is fundamentally broken.
Yeah.
The succession fight, the jealousy, the different factions under the brothers, they hate each other almost as much as they hate us. He argues that if Cao Cao keeps pushing them hard right now, they'll have to unite just to survive. Self-preservation. But, he says, if you ease the pressure, if you give them some space, they will absolutely turn on each other again. Their internal conflicts will inevitably flare up.
So let them destroy themselves from within.
Precisely. Guo Ji advises Cao Cao, Withdraw the main army. Go south, make a show of attacking Lubiao and Jingzhou. Pretend you're focused elsewhere. Just wait. Let the Yuan brothers start fighting amongst themselves over what's left.
And then come back.
And then once they've weakened each other, once they're totally divided, Cao Cao can sweep back in and pick up the pieces, conquer them all easily. It's fascinating because Guojia identifies their internal division not just as a weakness, but as the key strategic lever. He turns a difficult siege into a waiting game.
That is incredible strategic thinking. Using psychology, understanding the enemy's internal dynamics better than they perhaps understand it themselves. Does Cao Cao go for it?
He absolutely does. He immediately sees the wisdom in it. He leaves Jizhu to hold Liang, Cao Hong to guard the key-pointed Wandu, and then marches his main army south towards Jingzhou. He basically sets the trap, knowing the Yuan family's own divisions will likely spring it for him. He's letting their internal strife do the heavy lifting. Cao Cao has just pulled back his troops, temporarily. You'd think the Yuan brothers, Tan and Shan, might, breathe a sigh of relief, celebrate together.
Not quite. Instead, the simmering resentment, it just boils over. Especially with Yuan Tan, the older son. He feels completely cheated, right? Because his younger half-brother, Yuan Shang, got their father's position. And this bitterness, it really takes him somewhere dark. So who's whispering in his ear?
He turns to his advisor, Guo Tu, and the advice Guo Tu gives is, well, it's pretty chilling. He suggests Yuan Tan invite Yuan Shang and his advisor, Shen Pei, over for drinks.
Okay, a reconciliation attempt.
Not exactly. The plan is to have assassins hiding, ready to kill them both during the feast. Just cold-blooded.
Wow. That's brutal. It really shows how ambition can just dissolve family ties, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But thankfully, there's another voice, Wang Zhu, an advisor who comes all the way from Qingzhou. He offers Yuan Tan some very different counsel.
What does he say? Something more sensible, I hope.
Much more. He tells Yuan Tan, look, brothers are like your left and right hands. You can't just cut one off and expect to fight effectively, especially against a big enemy like Cao Cao. He warns them about these slanderers, meaning Guo Tu, who just want power for themselves by dividing the family.
That sounds like solid advice. How does Yuan Tan take it?
Poorly. This is really his fatal mistake here. He gets angry, dismisses Wang Zhu completely. It says so much about him, his pride, that deep resentment, and how vulnerable he is to advice that feeds his anger.
Yeah, ignoring the wise counsel because it doesn't tell you what you want to hear. A classic trap.
And the consequences come fast. Because Yuan Shang isn't sitting idle. Shen Pei, his advisor, figures out what Guo Tu is up to.
So he warns Yuan Shang.
Immediately. He tells him, you need to strike first. And Yuan Shang, he doesn't hesitate. Puts on his armor, gathers 50,000 troops, and marches right out of the city.
So much for the assassination plot. Now it's open war between brothers.
Exactly. Yuan Tan realizes his plan is bust, so he gets his own forces ready. And when they meet, it's just raw accusation. Yuan Shang curses him out.
And Yuan Tan fires back.
Oh, yeah. Accuses Yuan Shang of poisoning their father, stealing the title, and now trying to kill him. It's vicious. Makes you really wonder, is this pure hatred, or is it just ruthless ambition wearing a personal mask?
It's probably a bit of both, wouldn't you say? That personal grievance just fuels the ambition, makes it even uglier.
I think so. The ambition provides the goal, but the personal hatred adds that extra level of venom. It makes compromise impossible.
So this first battle between them, how does it go?
It's a disaster for Yuan Tan. He's defeated soundly, has to flee to a place called Pingyang. Yuan Shang marches back to his base, victorious, for now.
But Yuan Tan isn't giving up yet, even after that defeat. And incredibly, he goes back to Guo Tu for advice again.
He does. Seems he hasn't learned his lesson. He tries another attack, sends out a general named Chen Bi.
How does that turn out?
Badly. Yuan Shang sends out his general, Lu Kuang. They fight, and Lu Kuang actually kills Chen Bi in the battle. Another big loss for Yuan Tan.
So, back to Pingwan he goes. And now Yuan Shang besieges him there. Things must be looking pretty bleak.
Extremely bleak. He's trapped in Pingwan, running low on food, heavily outnumbered, real desperation setting in.
And this is where Guo Tu comes up with another plan. Something audacious, you said.
Audacious is putting it mildly. It's this incredibly intricate, multi-layered scheme. Guo Tu advises Yuan Tan to surrender to Cao Cao.
Surrender to their main enemy. How does that help?
Well, it's a trick. The idea is Cao Cao attacks Jizhu, which is Yuan Shang's main city. This forces Yuan Shang to lift the siege on Pingwan and rush back to defend his base.
Okay, that part makes sense. Get Yuan Shang off his back.
Right, but then, as Yuan Shang is retreating, Yuan Tan is supposed to ambush him from behind, a classic pincer move, using Cao Cao as the unwitting hammer.
Clever, but risky. What if Cao Cao actually wins against Yuan Shang?
That's the twist. Guotu's already planned for that. If Cao Cao takes Jizhu, Yuan Tan is supposed to then attack Cao Cao's forces, seize their supplies. The thinking is, Cao Cao's army is far from home, low on provisions after a campaign. They'll probably have to retreat.
Leaving Jizhu open for Yuan Tan to take back for himself? Wow, that's some serious double-crossing. Using your enemy to defeat your brother, then betraying that enemy.
It really highlights the kind of treacherous politics at play, doesn't it? Alliances built on the assumption of betrayal.
So who do they pick to carry this incredibly tricky message to Cao Cao? It needs someone persuasive.
We choose Shen Pai. He's the magistrate of Pingwan, and importantly, the brother of another advisor, Xin Ping. He's known for being very eloquent, very articulate, perfect for this kind of delicate, high-stakes negotiation, and apparently he's quite eager for the mission.
Okay, so Xin Pai sets off. Where's Cao Cao at this point? What's he up to?
Cao Cao is actually down in Xinping. He's gearing up for a completely different campaign, preparing to attack Liu Biao in Jingzhou. He's even got Liu Bi leading Liu Biao's vanguard forces against him.
So Xin Pai arrives right when Cao Cao is focused elsewhere. How does Cao Cao react when he gets this letter from Yuan Tan offering surrender?
He calls his advisors together, naturally, and the initial reaction is pretty skeptical. You've got Cheng Yu, Lu Qian, Manchang. They all basically say, hold on, this smells like a trap.
They think Yuan Tan's just desperate.
Exactly. They argue it's a trick, born of desperation, and Cao Cao should abandon his planned attack on Liu Biao for this risky gamble with the Yuans. Seems like a sensible position, right?
It does, but then someone changes Cao Cao's mind.
Yes, Zun Yu. He offers this brilliant counter-argument. His strategic thinking here is just fantastic.
What's his take?
He says, look, Liu Biao, he's not ambitious, he owns a rich land, but he's content to just sit on it. He won't make a move. The real opportunity, the unmissable one, is the Yuan clan imploding right now.
Because they're fighting each other.
Precisely. Sun Yu points out, yes, they're strong on paper, 4 regions, hundreds of thousands of soldiers, but they're destroying themselves from within. This internal conflict is a golden chance for Cao Cao. Defeat Yuan Shang now, deal with Yuan Tan later when the moment is right, and basically unify the North. It's the key to dominating the empire.
That's a powerful strategic argument. Shifting focus from a stable opponent to a powerful but fractured one.
Exactly. Cao Cao is clearly intrigued. You can tell he likes this. But he's still cautious. He turns to Xinpi and tests him. Is this surrender offer genuine? Can Yuan Shang actually be beaten?
How does Xin Pai handle that? He needs to be convincing.
He delivers a masterclass in persuasion. He tells Cao Cao, essentially, don't get hung up on whether Yuan Tan is sincere. Focus on the situation.
Okay, and how does he frame the situation?
He paints this really bleak picture of the Yuan clan's decline. Years of defeats, their armies are exhausted, their best advisors have been purged or alienated, the brothers are literally fighting each other, splitting their territory, add famine and disasters on top of that. He basically says heaven itself is destroying the Yuan clan. It's an unstoppable tide.
Wow, that's compelling. Less about trust, more about recognizing an inevitable collapse.
Exactly. And then he lays out the strategic logic. If Cao Cao attacks Ye, Yuan Shang's capital, Yuan Shang is trapped. He either loses his base or he comes back and gets ambushed by Yuan Tan, just like the plan Guotu outlined.
He uses that analogy too, right? About the wind and leaves.
He does. He says Cao Cao's fresh, powerful army hitting the exhausted Yuans will be like a swift wind-sweeping autumn leaves, just unstoppable. And he contrasts this with Jingzhou Liu Biao's territory, saying it's stable, prosperous, not going anywhere. The real prize, the key to ultimate power for Cao Cao, is conquering Hebei, the Yuan territory.
So nail the Yuans while they're weak, secure the north, then worry about the rest.
That's the argument. And it works.
What's Cao Cao's reaction?
He's absolutely thrilled, overjoyed. He apparently says he regrets not meeting Xin Pai years earlier, and the impact is immediate. He orders his entire army to turn around. Forget Liu Biao for now, they're marching on Jizhu.
That's a huge strategic pivot based on one conversation. Incredible.
It really shows the power of persuasion and recognizing a critical opportunity when it appears.
Now, this sudden U-turn by Cao Cao must have been noticed, right? What about Liu Bei, who was facing him?
Yes, Liu Bei sees Cao Cao's army abruptly turn and march north, and his reaction is very telling.
He pursues them, tries to take advantage.
No, Liu Bei is always cautious, always thinking strategically. He doesn't trust Cao Cao at all. Fearing some kind of trap or ulterior motive, he decides not to give chase. Instead, he pulls his own forces back to Liu Biao in Jingzhou.
Interesting. That caution, that lack of trust between these major players, it really shapes everything, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's a constant factor in all their calculations. No one fully trusts anyone else's intentions. So Yuan Shang, he's facing Cao Cao's army advancing, right? He tells two generals, Lu Kuang and Lu Shang, cover my retreat to Ye. Simple enough. But like almost immediately, his own brother, Yuan Tan, who's been chasing them from Pingwan, intercepts them. And these two generals, Lu Kuang and Lu Shang, they don't just hesitate. They basically sprint over to Yuan Tan's side and surrender, just like that.
And that switch, it's almost instantaneous. It tells you so much about how loyalty worked or didn't work back then. In these high-stakes games, it's not some fixed ideal. It's, well, it's currency, isn't it? It changes hands based on who you think is going to win right now. What's really sharp here, though, is Yuan Tan's next move. He doesn't just say, great, you're with me now. He tells Lu Kuang and Lu Xiang, look, don't surrender to me. Go surrender to Chancellor Cao.
Ah, interesting. So he's redirecting them. Why?
Well, think about it. By sending them to Cao Cao, he subtly weakens his brother Yuan Shang, furthering Cao Cao's eyes. And, maybe more importantly, he's currying favor with Cao Cao himself. It's a calculated political move disguised as a simple surrender. This seemingly small defection redirected like that, it really fractures the Yuan family even more, and basically hands Cao Cao a strategic advantage.
And Cao Cao, yeah, he's always ready to pounce on something like that, isn't he? The master manipulator. So Yuan Tan brings Lu Kuang and Lu Xiang over, and Cao Cao is apparently just thrilled, outwardly at least. He doesn't just welcome them. He immediately makes the marquises big titles, keeps them super close. But then, here's the kicker. He promises his own daughter in marriage to Yuan Tan.
Right. On the surface, it looks like, wow, okay, a solid alliance here, power merging. But as the saying goes, appearances can be deceiving, especially in the Three Kingdoms. Yuan Tan's advisor, Guo Tu, he smells a rat immediately. He warns Yuan Tan, look, this isn't genuine. He says Cao Cao's just using this marriage thing to, quote, capture the hearts of Hebei people. It's PR, basically, not a real bond.
So like a political stunt.
Pretty much. And if you look at Cao Cao's history, Guo Tu's suspicion, totally justified. Cao Cao was brilliant at this stuff. Psychological warfare, you could call it. It wasn't just about beating armies on the field. It was about undermining trust, breaking loyalty within the enemy camp before the fighting even started.
Okay, so Yuan Tan, maybe he thinks two can play at that game. He tries his own little counter-deception. He secretly sends two general SEALs back to Lu Kuang and Lu Xing, the guys who just defected, hoping, I guess, that they'll now act as his spies, his agents inside Cao Cao's camp. Stir up trouble.
It's a bold move, trying to flip Cao Cao's new recruits right back. But, uh-oh, what happens next just blows that plan wide open. Lu Kuang and Lu Xiang, they don't even pause. They take those SEALs straight to Cao Cao, tell him everything.
Wow. Okay, so much for that plan. What does Cao Cao do?
He finds it hilarious, apparently. He just laughs. And then he tells them, yeah, Yuan Tan's trying to use you. He wants you to cause problems after I deal with Yuan Sheng. But, he says, you should accept the SEALs anyway. Just take them. And the text gives us this chilling insight. From this point, Cao Cao formed the intention to kill Yuan Tan.
Ah, so accepting the SEALs wasn't about trusting them. It was about setting Yuan Tan up for the fall later.
Exactly. It's layers upon layers. Cao Cao's playing 4D chess here. He's not just thinking about the battle tomorrow. He's planning the elimination of all his rivals, using their own schemes against them.
So, you see, he's not just winning fights. He's playing mind games, building this intel network right under their noses. But, okay, all this psychological stuff is fascinating, but armies need food, right? You can't win on wits alone. And that brings us to logistics, the less glamorous side, but totally critical.
Oh, absolutely critical. Before Cao Cao launches his big push on Jizhu, he actually pauses. He takes the time to secure his supply lines, crosses the GR River, blocks another river, the Qi, into the Beiju Canal. Why? Grain transport, to make sure his army could be fed reliably over a long campaign.
That sounds patient, strategic.
It is. It shows incredible foresight. In that era, armies could just melt away from starvation or desertion if supplies failed. Cao Cao understood that securing logistics first gave him a massive advantage. He could sustain a siege, wait out his enemies if needed. It's about endurance.
Right, it's not just about the flashy battles, it's the groundwork.
Yeah.
Compare that to Yuan Shan's plan, advised by Shen Pei. What was their initial strategy?
Well, their idea was Yuan Shang attacks his brother Yuan Tan first over at Pingwan, get him out of the way. While doing that, secure his own supply lines. He put a general, Yin Kai, at a place called Maocheng to guard the route. And another general, Zhu Hu, was tasked with defending Handan. secure the rear, then push forward. It's logical, standard stuff.
Standard stuff, maybe. But Cao Cao doesn't really do standard, does he? He moves fast.
He really does. He pivots from setting up logistics to sudden, decisive action. Yuan Shang's general, Yin Kai, comes out to meet Cao Cao's forces. Bam! Zhu Chu, Cao Cao's famously fierce general, cuts him down instantly. One blow. Then Zhu Hu advances from Handan. Zhang Liao meets him, defeats his troops quickly, and then personally shoots Zhu Hu with an arrow. Takes him out.
Just like that, clearing the board.
Precisely. Quick, brutal efficiency, removing those key defensive pieces guarding the approaches to Jizhu.
Okay, so the path is clear. Now for the main event, the siege of Jizhu itself. Cao rolls up, starts using classic siege tactics, right?
Yep.
Building big dirt mounds to shoot down from, digging tunnels under the walls.
Yep, standard siege playbook. But inside the city, Shen Pei, Yuan Shang's commander there, is putting up a really tough defense. He's incredibly strict. The account mentions he even punished one of his own commanders, a guy named Feng Li, just for being drunk and missing a patrol.
Ouch. Running a tight ship.
Very tight. Discipline was absolute under Shen Pei, but that strictness, it backfires. Feng Li, angry about his punishment, defects, sneaks out, goes straight to Cao Cao.
And spills the beans.
Exactly. He tells Cao Cao about a potential weak spot, the Tumen Gate. Apparently, the ground behind it was softer, packed earth, ideal for tunneling. So Cao Cao thinks, perfect, sends Feng Li back into the city with 300 elite soldiers to dig their way in overnight. A classic Trojan horse, underground style.
Okay, this sounds like the end for Jizhu.
You'd think so, but then Shen Pei does something incredible. Talk about vigilance. Even with the siege raging, Shen Pei personally inspects the city walls every night after Feng Li's defection. He's paranoid, maybe, but it pays off. That night, he gets near the Tumen Gate, and he notices something. Or rather, the lack of something.
What?
No lights outside the gate. Usually there'd be watchfires, patrols, something. But tonight, darkness, silence. He immediately realizes, tunnel! They're coming in through a tunnel!
Wow. Quick thinking?
Incredibly quick, he doesn't panic. He orders his soldiers right then and there to haul massive stones and block the inside of the Tumen Gate. Feng Li and his 300 men digging away, they break through into a solid wall of rock, trap inside the tunnel. Shen Pei's men then finish them off inside that tunnel, turned a guaranteed disaster into a major defensive win.
That's amazing. Just pure attentiveness saving the day. It really shows, doesn't it, how one person's focus can change everything, even in a huge siege.
It absolutely does. It raises that question, you know? How much of war is just these individual moments of brilliance or error stacked up? Anyway, Cao Cao's tunnelers are wiped out. It's a setback. He pulls back slightly, regrouping near the Huan River, likely rethinking his approach.
But the pressure's still on Jizhu. And Yuan Shang, who was off fighting his brother Yuan Tan, gets the news Cao Cao's winning, Jizhu's under siege.
Right. So Yuan Shang drops his campaign against Yuan Tan at Pingwan and makes a dash back to try and relieve Jizhu. Lift the siege.
Makes sense. Got to save his capital. How's he planning to do it?
Well, his general, Ma Yan, gives him some advice. He says, don't take the main road. Cao Cao will expect that. Take this small western mountain path instead. It was called Fushuiku. The idea was to sneak up, launch a surprise attack, catch Cao Cao off guard.
A secret path. Sounds like a decent plan trying to outsmart Cao Cao.
It sounds decent. But here's the thing about Cao Cao. His intelligence network, his spies report Yuan Shang's exact movements. They know he's coming back, and they know he's taking that secret path.
Oh, man. So Cao Cao knows the surprise isn't a surprise at all.
Worse than that, Cao Cao anticipates everything. He predicts Yuan Shang will use the Fushuku path. He also predicts Yuan Shang will try to use fire signals from outside the city to coordinate an attack with Shen Pei inside. So Cao Cao doesn't even bother guarding the main road. He knows Yuan Shang won't be there. Instead, he sets up an ambush right on that supposedly secret western mountain path.
He's not just reacting, he's practically writing Yuan Shang's script for him. It's like he's reading his mind.
It really feels that way sometimes. He's always a step, maybe 2 steps ahead. So this sets up another incredible layer of deception. Yuan Shang gets to a place called Yangping Pavilion near the Fushui River, about 17 miles out from Jizhu. He starts prepping his fire signals, just as Cao Cao expected.
Okay, the trap is set. What happens next?
One of Yuan Shang's officers, Li Fu, comes up with this incredibly audacious plan, pure bluff. He decides to pretend to be one of Cao Cao's generals. He rides right up to the gates of Jizhu, bold as brass, and demands to be let in.
Seriously, he thinks they'll just let him in.
Well, Shen Pei, inside the city, hears the voice. He actually recognizes Li Fu. But Li Fu shouts something about having urgent military intelligence from Cao Cao. Shen Pei is cautious, but maybe desperate. He lets Li Fu in.
Okay, Li Fu's inside, now what? The deception gets even crazier, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Li Fu, still playing the part of a Cao Cao general, informs Shen Pei that, yes, Yuan Shang is nearby at Yangping Pavilion, waiting for a signal. And he suggests Jizu should light signal fires too, to coordinate.
Okay, seems straightforward enough so far.
But then Li Fu adds the twist. He advises Shen Pei, look, the city's starving, right? You're low on food. You should send out the old soldiers, the weak ones, the women. Make them pretend to surrender. The real plan. When Cao Cao's soldiers inevitably open their ranks to let these supposed refugees through.
Yuan Shang attacks right behind them.
Exactly. A surprise attack using the surrender as cover. Catch Cao Cao completely off guard while his lines are disrupted.
Wow, that's intricate. Deception within deception.
It's an absolute maze of plots and counterplots, isn't it?
Yuan Shang trying to defend Jizu. He sends out common people. The text says old and weak, carrying white flags. Looks like a surrender. The idea was, once Cao Cao opens the gates and lets them in, boom, Yuan Shang's own troops rush out in a surprise attack.
Right, catch them completely off guard. But Cao Cao, he wasn't exactly naive, was he?
Not at all. He spots it immediately, sees it's a trap.
So what does he do? Just ignore it?
Oh, much better than that. He flips it. He lays his own ambush, gets Zhang Liao and Xu Huang ready with 3,000 troops each, hiding nearby.
Clever. And Cao himself.
He rides right up to the city gates. Bold move. And get this scenario, a crossbow bolt shoots his helmet.
Whoa.
Yeah, the text says it almost pierced his skull, right there at the drawbridge. Incredibly close call.
Wow. That could have ended everything right there. What does that moment, his reaction, tell you about him?
It's huge. Shows incredible personal bravery, obviously, but also that iron control. He doesn't flinch.
Instead, he attacks.
Immediately. Signals his ambushers. Zhang Liao and Xu Huang charge out, and they just smash Yuan Shang's forces.
So the trick backfired completely.
Totally. Yuan Shang's troops are forced back, defeated, retreating all the way to a place called Xishan. Cao's quick thinking and, frankly, his guts turned a potential disaster into a victory.
Okay, so direct attack fails. Yuan Shang's desperate. He needs help.
Right, he calls for reinforcements from two of his generals, Ma Yan and Zhang Yi. But here's the thing.
Uh-oh, there's a but.
There is. Cao Cao was already steps ahead. Even before Yuan Shang made that call, Cao Cao had been working behind the scenes.
How so?
He'd secretly persuaded Ma Yan and Zhang Yi to defect. Turned them.
No way.
Through his own agents, Lu Kuang and Lu Xiang. And Cao Cao didn't just persuade them, he rewarded them immediately, made them Lai Hu, which is like a marquee. Big deal.
So he bought their loyalty, basically. A preemptive strike.
Exactly. It wasn't just about fighting. It was about dismantling the enemy's command structure from within. This kind of internal subversion. Devastating.
I bet. So how common was that, getting key commanders to flip like that?
Oh, it was a major part of warfare back then. Undermining trust, hitting logistics. It's incredibly effective. And Cao Cao used it brilliantly here.
So what happened next? Did Ma Yan and Zhang Yi just sit back?
Not a chance. Cao Cao immediately put them to work, sent them straight to Xishan to cut off Yuan Shang's supply lines.
Crippling him right after his retreat. Ouch.
Exactly. Before Yuan Shang could even properly regroup.
Yeah.
And then came another blow. A swift ambush at a place called Langku.
Another ambush.
Yep. Yuan Shang's army, already weakened and demoralized, walked right into it. The text describes fire everywhere, ambushed troops appearing. It was a total rout.
So Yuan Shang was just crushed.
Utterly. Forced to flee for his life, abandoning his banners, his seals, everything. It shows, that military strength means little without supplies and loyalty. Cao Cao was attacking on all fronts, physical and psychological.
Okay, so Yuan Shang is on the run, but Jizu itself, the city is still holding out, right? Under Shen Pei.
That's right. Shen Pei is this incredibly staunch defender, loyal to the Yuan family. He's bracing for Cao Cao's siege.
And this is where things get inventive.
Very inventive. Cao Cao's advisor, Yu Zhu, comes up with a real game changer.
Well, what's it?
Divert the Zhang River. Flood the city.
Flood Jizu.
By digging trenches. But here's the brilliant part. Cao Cao's execution of it. First, he orders his troops to dig ditches all around the city, like a 40-line perimeter. That's huge, maybe 12 miles or so.
Okay.
But, and this is key, they dug them really shallow initially. Very shallow, the text says.
Why shallow?
Deception. Shen Pei, watching from the walls, sees these pathetic little ditches. He probably thinks, what's this supposed to do? You can't flood a city with these. He dismisses it.
Underestimating the enemy based on what you think you see.
Precisely. It's a classic mistake, because overnight, everything changes. Cao Cao brings in 10 times the soldiers, digging like mad.
10 times overnight.
Yep. By morning, those shallow ditches are massive trenches, 2 zhang deep and wide. That's like 20 feet deep, 20 feet wide. An incredible feat of engineering, really, done incredibly fast.
Wow. And then?
They divert the Zhang River, water pours in. The city is flooded with several feet of water.
Devastating. What were the consequences inside?
Terrible. The text is stark. Food ran out, soldiers all starved to death. The city was brought to its knees by water, not weapons.
Yet, Shen Pei, he still didn't give up, even with the city flooded and starving.
Unbelievably, no. His loyalty was absolute. Then Xin Pai, who had joined Cao Cao and had personal reasons to hate Shen Pei, tries to negotiate.
How?
He gets Yuan Shang's captured seals and clothes, puts them on a spear, and shows them to the defenders. Proof that their lord was defeated, trying to break their morale.
And Shen Pei's reaction?
Pure fury, and incredibly brutal. He finds Xin Pai's family, who are still inside Jizu's entire household, old and young, 80-plus mouths. He executes them right there on the city wall and throws their heads down at Xin Pai.
80 people just like that. That's horrifying.
It's shocking. A truly ruthless act of defiance and maybe vengeance against Xin Pai for switching sides. It just shows how personal and extreme these loyalties and hatreds become.
Now, I must have had repercussions inside the city too, right?
It did. It set off the final betrayal. Turns out, Xin Pei's own nephew, a man named Shen Rong, had always been close friends with Xin Pai.
So seeing Shen Pai's family massacred.
Exactly. He was apparently horrified and resentful. So he secretly writes a surrender note.
How does he get it out?
Ties it to an arrow, shoots it down from the wall to Cao Cao's camp.
The inside man? That's the end for Jizu then.
Pretty much. Shen Rong opens the west gate that night. Cao Cao's forces pour in, led by Xin Pai himself, burning for revenge.
What about Shen Pei? Does he surrender?
No way. He fights desperately, making a last stand, but he's eventually captured by Xu Huang.
And the confrontation with Xin Pai, I imagine that was intense.
Oh, absolutely. Xin Pai, filled with grief and rage, apparently whips Shen Pei across the head with his horsewhip, calling him a villain.
And Shen Pei
gives it right back.
Whoa.
Curses Xin Pai as a traitor, a flatterer. Even captured, he's defiant.
So Cao Cao finally has him. What happens when they meet?
Cao Cao interrogates him, tries to gauge him. Xin Pai plays dumb about his nephew's betrayal.
But does he show any regret? Like about those arrows at the gate that nearly killed Cao Cao?
Regret? Not a chance. When Cao Cao asks about the arrows, Shen Pei just spits back, too few. Too few. Hated that he didn't shoot more.
Wow. The nerve.
Incredible defiance. Cao Cao actually seems impressed by this unwavering loyalty, even though it was aimed against him. He offers Shen Pei a chance to surrender, acknowledging his commitment.
And Shen Pei refuses.
Absolutely refuses. No surrender. No surrender, he declares.
Then Shen Pei steps in.
Yeah, Shen Pei pleads with Cao Cao to execute Shen Pei, to avenge his slaughtered family.
And this leads to Shen Pei's famous last words.
It does. Some of the most memorable lines in the whole novel. He says, basically, I live as a servant of the Yuan clan, and I'll die as their ghost. I'm not like you traitors and flatterers. Just kill me quickly.
Powerful stuff. And the execution itself, there was something specific about it.
Yes. His final request.
Yeah.
He asked to face north during the execution, toward the direction of his master, Yuan Shao's power base. He kneels facing north as he's executed. An ultimate, final act of loyalty.
And Cao Cao's reaction to all this?
This is also quite telling. Despite everything, Cao Cao respects Shen Pei's loyalty and righteousness. He orders him buried with honor north of the city.
It shows a different side of Cao Cao, perhaps? Valuing integrity even in an enemy.
Definitely. Pragmatic, yes, but also capable of recognizing and respecting fierce loyalty. It adds complexity to his character, for sure.
Speaking of pragmatism and talent, what happened to Chen Lin? The guy who wrote that nasty proclamation against Cao Cao, insulting his ancestors and everything.
Oh, Chen Lin. Yeah, when he's captured and brought before Cao Cao, you'd think he's done for.
Right, after writing something that insulting.
But Chen Lin gives this classic defense. He says, basically, look, the arrow was already on the bowstring, it had to be shot. Meaning, he was under orders, doing his job for Yuan Shao.
A risky defense. How did Cao Cao take it?
Amazingly, Cao Cao lets it go. He recognizes Chen Lin's literary talent and decides he's too valuable to waste, spares him, makes him an official in his own administration.
That is pure pragmatism, putting talent way above personal insult.
Exactly. It's a hallmark
Mm-mm.
Cao Cao's leadership.
Yeah.
Ruthless, yes, but also incredibly practical or using skilled people, no matter their past history with them.
And then the focus shifts slightly, doesn't it, to the next generation?
It does. We get introduced to Cao Pai, Cao Cao's eldest son. He's only 18 at this point.
And the text makes a big deal about his birth, right?
Yeah, there's this description of an auspicious son of heaven aura, like a colored cloud covering the room when he was born, a huge omen hinting at imperial destiny.
So potential emperor vibes even then. And he was talented.
Very. Writing by age 8, skilled in writing, archery, swordsmanship, a real prodigy.
And he seems ambitious, even aggressive.
Definitely shows that streak right away. While the main battle is wrapping up, Cao Pai takes his own troops and makes a beeline straight for Yuan Shao's residence inside Jizhu. Doesn't wait for orders.
Bypasses a guard, just pushes his way in.
Yep. Independent, decisive action. Maybe a bit ruthless for 18.
And the chapter ends with him finding something inside.
Yes, this really dramatic cliffhanger. He goes into the inner hall and finds 2 women embracing and crying.
Who are they?
We don't know yet, but the implication is they're likely members of the Yuan family. And Cao Pai approaches them, the text says, intending to kill them.
Wow. And that's where it leaves off.
Right there. With the line, roughly 4 generations of nobility, now a dream, of families flesh and blood facing calamity again. Their fate is unknown.
Chilling end to the chapter.
What a sequence of events!